Lauren stared at the man across the table. His creased suit, the gold wristwatch that glinted under the restaurant's dim light, and the sharp cologne he wore all screamed wealth. But to her, none of it mattered. She barely recognized him. "Lauren, you've barely touched your food," Daniel said, his deep voice carrying the confidence of a man used to get in his way. She lifted her fork, pushing the poster around her plate. "I'm not hungry." The restaurant was one of the finest in town, the type Daniel had dreamed of taking her to when they were broke and struggling. Back then, they would share a plate of street food, laughing about how they would one day dine in expensive places. Now, they sat in luxury, but there was no laughter, no warmth, just an uncomfortable silence between them. Daniel had changed. No, he hadn't just changed, he had become someone else. She glanced at the woman sitting at the next table, young, beautiful, dressed in an expensive gown. The woman laughed at something her date said, resting a delicate hand on his arm. Lauren remembered when she used to look at Daniel like that. Now, she wasn't sure if she even knew him anymore. "When did we become strangers?" she whispered. Daniel sighed and leaned back. "Lauren, don't start. Don't start." She dropped her fork. "Daniel, I watched you struggle. I held you up when you had nothing. I stayed when everyone doubted you. Now, you've made it, and I don't even know if you still love me." Daniel checked his watch. "This again?" "Lauren, I provide for you. I take care of you. What more do you want?" "I want my husband back." His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then stood up, smoothing his suit. "I have to take this. Business." Lauren watched him walk away, knowing deep down that this conversation wasn't over. Or maybe it was. Maybe the man she married had been lost the moment he became successful. And maybe, just maybe, she was finally ready to admit that she wasn't the woman he wanted anymore. Lauren sat in the quiet of their home, surrounded by luxury, yet feeling like a stranger in her own life. The house was grand, marble floors, imported furniture, expensive paintings on the walls. Everything Daniel once dreamed of, everything they had worked for. Yet, why did it all feel so empty? She traced a finger along the glass frame on the shelf. It held an old picture, her and Daniel, years ago, when love was simple. She had been just 22, fresh out of pharmacy school, when she met him, a struggling law graduate with nothing but ambition. She could still hear his voice from those days. "Lauren, one day, I'll make it. I just need time. Will you wait for me?" And she had waited. She had taken extra shifts at the pharmacy to cover their rent. She had skipped meals so he could eat. When he failed his bar exams, she was the one who picked him up, who reminded him that failure wasn't the end. Every late night, every sacrifice, every time she put his dreams before hers, she did it because she believed in them. And now, Daniel was a top corporate lawyer. He drove the latest cars. He dined with powerful men. He dressed in custom-made suits. But he was no longer hers. She had lost him, piece by piece, with every step he took toward success. The late nights at the office, the secret phone calls, the dismissive tone when she asked about his day, it had all built up like bricks in a wall between them. Lauren sat back, staring at the ceiling. When had she become just another piece of furniture in his life? Her phone vibrated on the glass table. A message from her best friend, Chloe. "We need to talk. It's about Daniel. Call me." Her stomach clenched. About Daniel. Her heart pounded as she reached for her phone, already sensing that whatever she was about to hear, it would change everything. Lauren's fingers trembled as she held the phone. She stared at Chloe's message, her mind racing. What could Chloe possibly have to say about Daniel? She hesitated for a moment, then dialed. The phone rang twice before Chloe picked up. "Lauren," Chloe's voice was urgent. "Chloe, What is it? You said it's about Daniel. A heavy sigh came from the other end. I didn't know if I should tell you this, but I can't keep quiet anymore. You deserve to know. Lauren's heart pounded. Deserve to know what? I saw him, Lauren. I saw Daniel with another woman. The world seemed to tilt. Lauren gripped the edge of the couch. Saw him where? When? Yesterday. At the Grandview Hotel. Lauren's blood ran cold. She knew that place. It wasn't just any hotel. It was one of the most expensive in the city, the kind where powerful men went to meet their mistresses away from prying eyes. Chloe, are you sure? Her voice was barely a whisper. I wasn't sure at first. But then I saw them walk in together. Lauren, they were holding hands. The words felt like a slap. Holding hands. A simple act, but one that spoke volumes. Lauren shot up from the couch, pacing. Her mind fought against the truth, searching for excuses. Maybe it was a business meeting. Maybe Chloe was mistaken. But deep down, she knew. She had felt it for months, the distance, the coldness, the late nights at the office that never seemed to end. Do you know who she is? Lauren asked, her voice barely steady. No. But she was young. She looked like the type of woman Daniel would want now. The type of woman Daniel would want now. Lauren sank back onto the couch, her body numb. Lauren, Chloe's voice softened. What are you going to do? Lauren swallowed the lump in her throat. I don't know. But she did know. She wasn't going to sit and wait for Daniel to confess. She needed to see it with her own eyes. Lauren didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while Daniel slept beside her, his breathing deep and steady. How could he sleep so peacefully while she was drowning in suspicion? Her mind raced. Was Chloe wrong? Was it a misunderstanding? Or was Daniel really seeing another woman? She could have confronted him immediately. Demanded the truth. But she knew men like Daniel. He would deny it. He would make her feel crazy. No, she needed proof. By morning, Lauren had a plan. Daniel was always meticulous about his routine. He left the house at 7 a.m. sharp. Today was no different. He kissed her forehead, a meaningless gesture, before walking out. The moment his car disappeared down the road, Lauren got dressed. She called a cab and told the driver to follow Daniel's usual route to the office. But 20 minutes into the drive, something unexpected happened. Daniel's black Mercedes didn't turn toward his firm. Instead, he drove toward the Grandview Hotel. Lauren's stomach twisted. Chloe hadn't been lying. She told the cab driver to slow down, watching as Daniel parked his car. A few minutes later, the passenger door of his car opened, and a woman stepped out. Lauren's breath caught in her throat. The woman was young, maybe mid-20s. Slender. Long straight hair. Dressed in a fitted gown that clung to her curves. Daniel placed his hand on the small of her back, guiding her inside. Lauren felt like the air had been punched out of her lungs. It was real. Her hands shook as she reached for her phone. She wanted to call him, scream at him, demand an explanation. But she stopped herself. Not yet. Instead, she took a deep breath and did the one thing she never thought she'd do. She stepped out of the cab and walked into the hotel after them. Lauren's heels clicked softly against the hotel's marble floors as she walked in, keeping her distance. The scent of expensive cologne and polished wood filled the air. Her pulse pounded in her ears, but she forced herself to stay calm. This wasn't the time to act on emotions. Daniel and the woman were already at the front desk. The receptionist greeted them with a knowing smile, handing over a room key. So, this wasn't their first time. Lauren clenched her fist. Every part of her wanted to march over, slap the key out of Daniel's hand, and expose him for the liar he was. But she knew better. Men like Daniel could twist anything. He would find a way to make her the villain, call her paranoid, say she was overreacting. No. She needed undeniable proof. She watched them enter the elevator, the woman laughing at something Daniel said. The sight made Lauren's stomach turn. Was this the same man who once swore he couldn't live without her? Her hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. She snapped a picture just as the elevator doors closed. Then she took another of Daniel's car outside. Proof. She walked over to the front desk, forcing a smile. Excuse me, my husband just checked in, but I think he left his wallet with me. Can I get his room number? The receptionist hesitated. Lauren sighed, pretending to check her phone. Oh, never mind. I see it here. Room 406, right. The receptionist nodded without thinking. Lauren thanked her and walked toward the elevator. 406. Her heart pounded as she reached the 4th floor. She stood in front of the door, staring at the number. Her hands felt ice cold. She could knock. She could barge in and watch Daniel scramble for excuses. Or she could be smart. Lauren turned away, her heels clicking down the hall. She had the pictures. The room number. The date and time. She wasn't just going to confront Daniel. She was going to destroy him. The images of Daniel and his mystery stared back at her, proof of his betrayal. The house was eerily silent except for the ticking clock on the wall. She had been sitting there for hours, waiting. At exactly 10:45 p.m., she heard Daniel's car pull into the driveway. Her heart clenched, but her face remained emotionless. Tonight, she wasn't the broken wife. She was the woman who had been lied to, humiliated, and betrayed. The front door opened, and Daniel stepped in, loosening his tie as he sighed. Lauren, you're still up. She stared at him, her expression unreadable. Yes. Long day. He nodded, walking toward the couch. Exhausting. Meetings ran late. I barely had time to grab dinner. Liar. Lauren forced a small smile. Must have been stressful. Daniel sighed dramatically. You have no idea. Lauren's blood boiled. He sat there, lying effortlessly, as if he hadn't spent the evening in a hotel room with another woman. She stood up and walked toward him, her voice calm. Did you at least get a good meal? He rubbed his forehead. Not really. I just grabbed something light. Lauren tilted her head. Oh. I thought maybe you ate at the Grandview Hotel. The room fell silent. Daniel's hand froze mid-motion. Slowly, he looked up at her, confusion and weariness in his eyes. What? Lauren unlocked her phone and tossed it onto his lap. The screen lit up with the images, Daniel and the woman stepping out of his car, entering the hotel, holding hands. His face paled. Lauren folded her arms. Try again. For the first time in their marriage, Daniel was speechless. His mouth opened and closed, his mind scrambling for an excuse, an explanation, anything to get him out of this. But there was no way out. Lauren had caught him. And she wasn't done. Frozen, his hand still clutching the phone Lauren had tossed onto his lap. His face had drained of color, and he was struggling to find the words. Lauren had caught him. Lauren stood before him, watching his every move. Her heart pounded, but she was calm. Too calm. She had made her decision. This was no longer about confronting him, it was about taking control of her own life. What is this? Daniel's voice was shaky, barely above a whisper. Lauren raised an eyebrow. Isn't it obvious? For a brief moment, she saw panic in his eyes. He could feel the power slipping away from him. And like any man in that position, he went into damage control mode. Lauren, I can explain. His voice was pleading now, soft, almost desperate. It's not what it looks like. I wasn't. But Lauren held up a hand, silencing him. Save it. Don't make me feel worse than I already do. She paced around the living room, her anger simmering just below the surface. Daniel tried to reach for her, but she stepped back, holding the phone in her hand. You think I wouldn't notice, she said, her voice cold. You think I wouldn't find out that the woman you've been meeting at hotels is not a business partner or a colleague? His mouth opened and closed, as though trying to form some kind of defense, but the words wouldn't come. His perfect facade was crumbling, and he knew it. This is not just a mistake, Daniel. Lauren's voice was steady, but the weight of her words hit him hard. This is you throwing everything we built together away. This is betrayal. And worse, it's you thinking I wouldn't have the strength to see through it. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, frustration building in him. He was so used to being the one in control, the one who held all the cards. I'm sorry, Lauren. I swear, I didn't want it to get this far. I love you, Lauren cut him off, her tone sharp. No. You don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. Love isn't just words. It's actions. And your actions have shown me who you really are. The silence stretched out between them, thick with tension. Daniel was staring at the floor, unable to meet her eyes. Lauren was done with his excuses. She had given him chances before. But this time, she wasn't giving him a way out. I've already planned my next steps, Daniel, she said quietly. You won't be able to weasel your way out of this one. You've lost me. Lauren's mind raced as she stood before Daniel, watching the broken man in front of her. She had spent years trying to make their marriage work, but now, all she could see was the truth. The man she had loved, the man she had trusted, was no longer the same person. He had chosen his path. Daniel sat slumped on the couch, his eyes still not meeting hers. He was broken, but it wasn't from remorse, it was from fear. Fear that he was losing everything. Lauren took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She couldn't afford to feel sorry for him, not now. Not after everything he had done. I don't know what to say, Lauren, he mumbled, his voice shaky. I messed up, but please, I can change. I'm willing to do anything. Lauren shook her head. It's too late for anything, Daniel. Her voice was firm. She had made up her mind. The silence hung between them like a thick fog, neither of them knowing what to say. Lauren walked to the window, staring out into the dark night, the weight of the decision she had made pressing on her chest. She had tried. She had given Daniel every opportunity to be the man she needed him to be. But now, it was time to take control of her life again. I'm leaving, she said finally, her voice steady, unwavering. I've packed my things. I'll be staying with my sister for a while. Daniel's head snapped up, his eyes wide with disbelief. What? You're really going to leave? She nodded without hesitation. Yes. I'm done. I can't keep living like this, Daniel. I'm worth more than the lies you've told me. Daniel jumped up, panic flooding his face. No, Lauren. Please don't do this. I'm sorry, I swear I'll make it right. I'll prove it to you. But Lauren didn't flinch. She had heard enough empty promises. She had seen enough lies. There's nothing left for me here, Daniel. Her voice was soft, but the finality in it made him freeze. You've already chosen your path. Now I'm choosing mine. She walked past him, heading toward the door, her heart heavy but resolute. The man who had once been her everything was no longer the person she thought he was. As she stepped out the door, the cool night air hit her face, but she felt a strange sense of relief. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready for it. She wasn't going to let herself be another woman broken by lies. She would rebuild. Lauren didn't know what was waiting for her in the days to come, but she was ready to face it. The moment she had stepped out of that door, leaving Daniel and their shattered marriage behind, she had felt a weight lift off her shoulders. It was as if the years of holding on to a lie, of hoping for something that would never be, had finally ended. Her sister, Emily, had welcomed her with open arms, a safe haven when the world felt too heavy. Emily's house was small but filled with warmth and love. The two women sat together in the quiet of the living room, cups of tea in their hands, talking late into the night. Lauren poured out her heart, every painful detail, every moment of doubt. Emily listened without judgment, offering support but never pushing her to forgive. It was exactly what Lauren needed. She wasn't ready to forgive yet. She wasn't even sure she ever would. Daniel's betrayal had cut too deep. She needed time to heal, to rediscover herself without the shadow of his lies hovering over her. "You're strong, Lauren," Emily said as she tucked a strand of Lauren's hair behind her ear. "This is just the beginning. You'll find your way." Lauren smiled, but it was a sad smile. "I don't know who I am anymore, Em. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself." But Emily was right. This was only the beginning. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Lauren found herself growing. She took up hobbies she had long abandoned. She started painting again, something she used to do when she was younger. The strokes of color on the canvas were therapeutic, almost as if she were painting away the pain. She began running in the mornings, letting the cool breeze hit her face, breathing in life as if for the first time in years. Each day brought a new sense of freedom, and with it, the realization that she had been holding herself back. All those years of fighting for a love that wasn't real had kept her from pursuing her own dreams. Now, she had the chance to build her future, piece by piece, without the constant fear of betrayal. It wasn't easy, but Lauren had never been one to take the easy road. She knew the road ahead would be long, but she was no longer afraid. She was free. One evening, as she sat on the balcony of Emily's house, staring at the sky, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Daniel. "Lauren, I know I've ruined everything. But I need you to know I'm sorry. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right. Please, don't walk away from me completely. I miss you. I love you." She stared at the message for a long time, the words echoing in her mind. But the decision was clear now. The love she had once had for Daniel was gone, replaced by a stronger, more resilient love for herself. She didn't reply to his message. Instead, she tucked her phone away and took a deep breath. "I'm done being someone's second choice," she whispered to herself. "I am enough on my own." Self-worth is not found in the love of another but in the love you have for yourself. Lauren's journey teaches us that no matter how much we love someone, we should never lose ourselves trying to fix what is already broken. Love should never come at the cost of self-respect, and betrayal should never be excused in the name of hope. In the end, Lauren didn't seek revenge, and she didn't beg for closure. She found peace within herself, proving that sometimes, the best revenge is simply moving on and becoming the best version of yourself.